Consider staying in an airport hotel so you're refreshed before you collect your car, or stay at a hotel in the town. For the same price as an airport pickup, you might be able to get the car delivered to you. Check the minimum and maximum ages allowed for drivers if you want to share the driving. You may have to also declare any driving offences, so ensure that you have the driver's paperwork, which includes the code you get from the DVLA, which just replaced the paper version of your driving licence a couple of years ago. And don't forget to take the code with you. You should never collect the car in the dark, as you do need to make note of every scratch and dent in the vehicle before you drive it away. If you're travelling in a group and you trust everyone, the main driver could leave the luggage reclaim and go straight to the car rental office and beat most of the queue. Remember, this should not be done if there's duty-free in your luggage, because you can't spread the duty-free across suitcases. It has to have a limit per person, whether they're carrying 2 cases or 1. So if you've got loads of booze or fags in your case and somebody carries it through customs for you while you go and get the hire car, then you will have to pay duty, even though technically you don't have to pay any. So if you haven't got anything to worry about, then head straight to the car company and pick everybody else up when it's all sorted. If you feel lucky, please do book give me the lottery numbers. But if you're a lucky sort of person, book a popular budget model and then take your time getting to the front desk. They may run out of your model and you could be in line for a free upgrade. But of course, there's also the downside. You might actually end up with a worse vehicle. A credit card is required when you hire a car. It's a sad fact of life. If you don't want to have a credit card, then you may have trouble getting a hire car. You need the credit card because they put a charge on the card in case you don't come back. It's for security. It is very unlikely that a debit card will be accepted, and some companies may insist on using the same card that was used for making the booking. So you need to make sure if this is the case before you book the car, in case say works booking it for you and then you go with a different credit card. If you're sent to collect your car from a large car park and you notice damage, don't drive it back to the office. Leave it where it was and go back to the front desk and complain, and insist that a member of staff comes with you to complete the handover. Make sure that every part of the form is filled in. If a part is not relevant on the form, put a line through it. Record the mileage and how much fuel was left for you. Make sure that you also understand the fuel charges. Do you need to return the car on empty, or if it's full tank? If it has to be full and you haven't been given a full tank, make sure this is noted on the paperwork and agree with a signature from the member of staff what you should do when returning the car. Also, if you have to fill up the tank, make sure you keep the last receipt if it has the date and time, so you can use it as proof for any disputes. It's all down to you, basically, when it comes to hiring a car. If you don't make the effort, you could end up paying for it. It's the driver's responsibility to ensure that the car is road legal, as Kieran said earlier. Some countries have laws such as the reflected vests, which Kieran mentioned. In France, it's illegal to have a sat-nav that lists fixed speed cameras. When you collect the car, ensure that you have compiled a checklist of the local laws that you can check to make sure you've been supplied with all the necessary equipment. Once the car's on the road, it is down to you whether the car is legal or not, and not the hire company. Kieran mentioned child seats. It is probably better to bring your own. Child seats do have to be ordered well in advance, but they can still be missing when you get to the office. If you do take your own, then you might be able to get it on the aircraft for free anyway. Check with your airline. Not only will it be a better fit for your child, it's probably more hygienic than the one you'd be offered by the hire car company anyway. And finally, make sure you know all the emergency telephone numbers and instructions that must be followed should you break down or have an accident. And of course, before you drive away, take a few moments to become familiar with the vehicle. So you finish your trip and you return the hire car. If you have to drop off the hire car when the office is closed, try to take some photos of the car near the office to show that there isn't any major damage. If the office is open but they are too busy to check the car over, write "Decline to inspect" in big letters over the form. If you did have an accident, you should obtain your own local quotation for the cost to repair the damage, but do not get the work done. You can use this if you feel that you're going to be charged too much, which can happen. You might have had an imprint of your credit card taken when you collect the car. you remember those things that used to make an imprint? So if that was taken, make sure you get this imprint back and destroy it. It can be cheaper to hire the car locally, but if you have a problem, it can be difficult to resolve it once you're back home. If you use a multinational company, your local office should be able to sort it out for you. And this happened to somebody I knew through my business network. He hired a car locally, and then there was a dispute over damage to the vehicle, and it took months and months and months with the company not refunding the money he felt they had unjustly taken from him. And in the end, he did a visa dispute where the bank took the money back from the company, which actually got them into action. But it took ages and ages to get the problem resolved. Whereas if he'd been with a large multinational company, would have paid extra, but then he could have popped to the local office maybe 5-10 miles away from his home instead of sending faxes and emails to another country. But there is help if you have, in case you do have a dispute with your hire car company. You could go to the UK European Consumer Centre. They've been on the show a few times. They can help you with some advice. There's also the British Vehicle Rental and Leasing Association, which is easier now. You can just call it the BVRLA, and it's primarily to promote the interests of its members, not the consumer. But there is a code of conduct for its members to follow, and you can complain to the association if you feel that the service you received means that the member is breaking the code. And there's also the European Car Rental Conciliation Service, the ECRCS, helps customers with unresolved complaints concerning cross-border vehicle rentals within Europe. However, there are only around half a dozen members of this service. If you've come across a problem with a hire car when you've been away, please do share your story. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Let us know what the problem was and if it got resolved. If you feel brave enough and you were duped in 2011 by this company that didn't exist, please share that experience with us too. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. You can keep up to date with travel news and leave me a message at Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. The internet has made it so much easier for members of the public to sort their own holidays out. They don't need to trot down to the nearest travel agent. Although the travel agent does offer a lot of protection you may not get if you do it all yourself, and is worth considering for that peace of mind, you can just sit down in front of the Coronation Street with your laptop or tablet and book your holiday. But some websites still use jargon which is used within the trade, and you may not know what it means. I'm going to run through some of the ones now to hopefully make it a little bit easier for you to understand what's going on. And we'll start with the A's, obviously. APD is Air Passenger Duty, and it's a UK government-imposed charge in addition to other airport taxes. Now, airport taxes, it's not always a tax as you might understand it, like VAT or income tax. Airport taxes includes all the fees that the airport charges the airline for the right to park their plane there to pick you up. And there's some airports, such as Norwich, who have a redevelopment fee, which they charge direct to the passenger, and you have to pay that before you can go through security. If other airports have it, they stick it in with the charges to the airline, so it's not separate and you just pay it under taxes. So taxes doesn't necessarily mean taxes, it just means charges and all the other little bits and pieces that the airline has to pay to get you to put your bum on their seat. I've always been a believer that taxes should just be included in the price and they shouldn't separate the price of the ticket and then plus taxes. When I started in travel in 2004, all flights were advertised with the ticket price, and then when you went to finally pay, all the taxes got added on, and it's very misleading, especially when the taxes can be more than the price of the ticket. But anyway, I'm going off on one. Apex fare, advance purchase excursion fare. This is a special fare at a lower rate, but restrictions will be in place which may prevent you from getting a refund or making any changes to the ticket. ARNK, arrival not known, is used to show a service or C sector in the flight booking. For example, you're flying Heathrow to JFK in New York and then Los Angeles to Heathrow. There is a surface journey between New York and LA which the airline doesn't know about, and you may find on your ticket ARNK. ATOL, Air Travel Organisers Licence. This is required by any UK company selling a holiday which consists of a flight and some other elements such as accommodation or a hire car. It provides consumer protection if the tour operator goes into financial failure. If passengers have not travelled, they will get their money back, or if the passenger is on holiday, arrangements will be made for their return. When Monarch were having difficulties last year, the CAA hired loads of planes and had them in strategic busy airports just in case there was a problem with Monarch and they had to stop flying. So if you have an atoll holiday, then there'll be flights available to bring you back. If you do, this is one of the anomalies of travel. Book the ticket direct with the airline. You're not protected. Book the same ticket for a travel agent and then have the hotel or a hire car, or sometimes just the flight, then you are protected. One of them things. The airline said they couldn't afford it, so it never actually got put into the scheme. Carry-on. This is hand luggage that passengers can take with them on the aircraft. Size, number of bags and weight limits are set by the airline and local government anti-terrorism instructions. Contents are also restricted, so make sure you are fully aware of any restrictions before you check your hold baggage, in case you have to put some of your carry-on in there. Check baggage. This is the baggage up to a specified limit that can be carried is carried in the hold of the aircraft, also known as hold baggage. There are two types of system in place for check baggage allowances or hold baggage allowances. There's the weight system, which is based around the total weight of the baggage, no matter how many different pieces you have. And there's the piece system, which is based on the number of pieces of luggage. Each bag must not exceed a maximum length, made up of the three dimensions, length plus width plus height. And there may be a total length limit for all the bags combined. Both systems do have a maximum weight limit per bag for health and safety reasons. This is generally 32 kilograms, but you have to check with your airline. Subject to space availabilities, airlines carry amounts of baggage in excess of the free allowance for an excess baggage charge. The maximum amount depends on the class of ticket, with economy having the lowest limit and the first class having the greatest limit. Children, this is what can get confusing when you're sorting your own holiday out. Children is a reduction of the adult fare depending on age. For most scheduled airlines, children are aged between 2 and 12 years inclusive. Some hotels have a maximum child age of 16, so the flight could be a full adult if the kid's 15, but the room may be discounted because they're a child. Do not assume that a child discount is applied. It may be cheaper to voluntarily pay an adult price for a room, as in some cases it's cheaper than paying for an adult price because of the under-occupancy surcharge. Children when flying, they have the same baggage allowance as adults because they're paying for their seat. Infants who are less than 2 years old, they don't have any luggage allowance and they're not paying for their seat. They sit on your lap. Direct flight. A change of aircraft is not required, but the aircraft is landing at an intermediate point between your set-off and your destination. It is not the same. A direct flight does not mean non-stop. It means you don't get off the plane. And I've seen travel companies get this confused. Direct flight means you don't have to get off the plane, but you will be stopping en route to your final destination. ETA, estimated time of arrival, an easy one, that one. Excess baggage, I've already covered this. It's an excess baggage fee on baggage is greater than your free allowance, including your ticket price. The charge is generally 1.5% higher normal direct one-way economy ticket. There's different classes of tickets, even in economy. So the prices of the seats are different. If you're going to be paying an excess fee, of course they're going to use the highest possible price for the ticket to make their adjustments and charge you. There are exemptions, so do check the airline's terms and conditions before booking. Full fare. This is the passengers paid in full. Full payment at the time of booking usually guarantees the price. Increased taxes, however, will be passed on, so do check the terms and conditions before paying.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, I'm checking in for my flight.
Lovely. Business or pleasure?
Holiday.
And where will you be staying?
With my parents, they live over there.
Lovely. Travel insurance?
Oh, no thanks.
Have you got travel insurance?
No.
Checked to see if you need any vaccinations?
No.
Checked out the local laws?
No, look, why do I need to know all this? I'm just staying with my parents.
Is either of your parents A local lawyer or the chief of police, B fabulously wealthy, C the owner of a private plane with its own fully trained medical staff, or D none of the above?
D?
Lovely. Are you a superhero and in fact immortal?
Things can go